Do you ever feel like you come to work each and every week and you grind on the same things that you know and you know really well, and so you just dive into it because it's what you know best? But in the back of your head, in the back of your mind, you always feel like you're missing something. Maybe there's something you're overlooking. Maybe there's something you just don't know what you don't know. As a practice owner, that was me. I was coming to work and doing really well with everything that I knew. And maybe this is you too. Maybe you're experiencing the same thing. Maybe you know exactly that feeling where you're like, I know there's other things I should be looking at. I know there's other things that could be helping me, but it's what I don't know that's holding me back from success. So what I wanted to do is just have a conversation and ask some questions and throw out some data to you. I've taken a couple notes here. I was working at my desk and I've been talking to a lot of owners lately, doing a ton of coaching calls since PPS. So many people are just revving up for 2025. Hats off to all you guys looking ahead. I just did a full business strat plan for somebody for 2025 just today. It's exciting. It's exciting to know that we're wrapping up a good year and we're going to go into even a better one. But like I said, so many of us have these things that we don't know and we overlook. And because of us overlooking them, we can be the effect of what we don't know. Sounds like a word salad, but let me address a couple of these things. To an extent, being a successful private practice owner is about math. It's the math that you really need to get a grip on. We didn't go to a PT school to be mathematicians, and we're not engineers, and we don't like to be nuclear physicists, and all that mathematical calculation stuff isn't our forte. We're very verbal, very dynamic, we're very personable human beings, and that's great, rightly so. That's why we're physical therapists, right? But at some point, you have to budget time. So the first thing is to make sure that you budget time for your administrative roles and responsibilities. So the things that people overlook is they spend all of their time in production, more patients, more treatments, more discharges, more aftercare programs, more marketing, more, all production, production, production. I highly recommend that you find somewhere between 5 to 10 hours a week, depending on the size of your practice, that you have uninterrupted time. You literally don't even have your phone on, you don't have your emails rolling, you have nothing interrupting you. It's your quiet time to really think about administrative things so that you can look at the stats, because there's only two ways you can manage in this whole wide world. You can either manage by personality. Oh, I like her, she laughs at my jokes, or I like him, he buys Krispy Kremes, or they're always smiling, or they're just like me. You don't want to hire people that are just like you. You want to hire people that complement you in many ways. You don't want pushback necessarily, but you want people who are going to contribute in the full circle of things that you can't always think about yourself. And that's what this episode's all about. So think about, set aside the admin time, number one, 5 to 10 hours a week. Number two, the math. Know the math. Know that if I want to do 100 visits a week in my clinic, let's say I'm a smaller clinic or I've been open a year or something like that, and I want to do 100 visits a week, know that I need to have a system, a 2-month marketing campaign that goes out 2 months, 1 month drops off, another month comes on, and you have that level of consistency in terms of marketing and branding efforts that are going to generate 15% of your total weekly visits in new patients. So if you ever want to know what does it take to do 200 visits a week, well, it's 30 evals a week on average, because we're not seeing 3-4 times a week patients anymore. We're seeing 2 times a week patients and then 1 time a week patients and sometimes 3 and it goes to 2. The magic number is somewhere around 12 to 15% of your weekly visits need to be evals if you're going to sustain that degree of growth or that volume of visits. So if I definitely want to be doing, 150, 180 visits a week, I definitely know I need to be somewhere around 20, 25 evals out of that 150 visits a week, so to speak. So 12 to 15% of your total visits should be evals. Your payroll should be 15%, 50% or less of your total GI per month. So whatever your total payout and payroll is per month, it should be 50% of your total GI or less. It used to be you could get by with 60, 65%, not so much, because payroll has become so expensive. People are asking for so much more money for the same duties and responsibilities they did 5 years ago, but yet they want $5, $6, $7, $8, $10 an hour more because of hyperinflation and the cost of living. I get it. You understand. But where do you get that money from? I mean, Medicare's reduced reimbursement over 9% on average over the last 3 years. Commercial carriers aren't paying you more, they're paying you less, hence the income squeeze. So, solution. 2, problem. Payroll's over 50% of GI. Solution, outsource. You say to yourself, well, I may be paying a little bit premium for that work. Yes, but you're getting a high caliber person who's higher trained, more efficient, more productive, and you have no administrative costs with that person at all. You have no payroll taxes, no FICA, you have no benefits, you have no sick, vacation, holiday, and the list goes on. The fastest growing division in our company is virtual front desk. Virtual front desk could be just insurance verification officer, or maybe just an insurance authorization officer, or maybe just a chart prep person, so that maybe you have a wonderful person, Heidi, working your front desk, your patients love her. Keep her. Let her sign them in, let them do the schedule, but let somebody else do all the stuff that she's not really good at. The verifications, authorizations, chart prep. It's really up to you, but the more you outsource billing, outsource marketing, outsource front desk. Literally, if you go to a hair salon today, the only person in there cutting your hair is the person who's cutting your hair. They're checking you in, signing you in, taking the money, taking the payments. They're sweeping the floor, washing the mirrors. I don't know, the mirrors aren't always washed, but they should be. That is the way of the world. Automation. As much automation as you can, as much outsourcing as you can, the better it will be for you. But be careful when you outsource. Sometimes you got to outsource offshore, but now you got to manage this person offshore. Or maybe you got to outsource somebody somewhere else, but they're your responsibility to manage. I highly recommend that you find a company that's going to manage the people for you and provide the service to you. So that's my advice there. 50%, your payroll needs to be less than your total GI. $20 spread, magic number. So what do I mean by that? If I'm going to do a cash-based service, or I'm going to work my schedule and I'm going to accept certain insurance contracts, I'm going to ask myself, can I make between my cost of delivering that service and my collections for that unit of service, whether it be an hour, half hour, whatever it may be, am I experiencing a $20 spread? Very important that you look at your books and say to yourself, am I making at least $20 on this service? Some people in some parts of the country will go as low as $15. And most in particular that I'm thinking of is the Northeast. That's the lowest reimbursed part of our country, and it's the most challenging to be successful at. If you can make a $15 margin on the unit of service that you're delivering, then a lot of people will keep it. But I have practice owners, maybe you're one of them, maybe you've accepted this concept. Hey, I'm going to take this, HMO, and it's going to pay $37.50 a visit flat. I know it cost me $45 an hour for the therapist all in. I'm losing money on that, but I'll make it up with their other visits that are paying better. I've not yet, to be honest with you, I've not yet met a therapist who's in private practice where that's working out in their favor. It sounds good in theory, but a loss is a loss. And the more loss you do, the more loss you have. Taking a loss leader in that way to hopefully make up for it on the other end with higher reimbursed people as part of that plan, I just haven't seen it pan out. Maybe you have, maybe you're experiencing it. Hats off to you. I applaud you for that. Well done. But that's not the norm. It's a very challenging situation. So what am I saying? Solution. My solution in this case is find out any carrier that's paying you less than $15 over cost and get rid of them. Don't take it. Panel's full. You can stay enrolled. You don't have to cancel your contract. You can stay enrolled, but your panel's full. You're not accepting those patients anymore. Or you cancel the contract if it's isolated just to that one, carrier or just to that one plan. But be careful. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. You want to make yourself available to as many people as possible. And sometimes the bad payers come with a bulk size plan. So do what's legal. Look at what's legal. Look at what's ethically appropriate. Look what meets compliance and do the right thing. But whatever you do, find a way to do it in the most professional, ethical way, in the most moral way, not to put yourself in a position where you're upside down, you're losing money for doing more work, more loss, more frustration, more stress. That's not what you got into this for. You got into this to be the best provider in town. You could keep working for somebody else, but at some point you said, man, that's a capitated life. I'm just going to have a capitation. There's no growth. There's no opportunity for me as a professional. I'm just going to see what I see and maybe make $5,000 more over the next 5 or 10 years. And you said to yourself, man, I'm worth more than that. I need more freedom than that. I want financial stability with time flexibility, which A plus B equals freedom. I want to chase that freedom horse. as you should. That's why people enroll in Meg Academy. I will coach you on these metrics. I will give you these KPIs, and I'll even give you the strategies of how to achieve them. And you learn at your own pace. Within 2 to 3 months, you're fully trained. You have your MBA-like experience is what I like to say. And you know how to run a practice with total certainty. By all means, just sit down with Laura and I, and we'll show you how that works. For the cost of like less than 10 patients, you could have everything, tools, handouts, everything for yourself. Here's another metrics. 3.5, magic number. If I hire a physical therapist, I expect that physical therapist, per my schedule and per my reimbursement per visit, is going to generate somewhere between $4,500 to $5,000 in revenue per week. When I multiply that out on the revenue that they generate and the cost of carrying them on an annual basis, I need to hold myself to the benchmark of that therapist generating 3.5 times their cost. So whatever it is, taxes, insurance, benefits, sick, vacation, holiday pay, bonuses, everything, if it costs me, let's say you promise them an $85,000 position plus the 11 to 13% in benefits, depending on where you are in the country. Let's say that comes up to $97,000 a year in carrying, and then maybe there's some incidentals there in terms of bonus or something else. So let's say it's $100,000. Did that person generate in gross revenue $350,000 for the practice? They need to generate a minimum of 3.5. Now, for years and years and years, it was always 4 multiple. Not anymore. It's just the income squeeze. It's just squeezing you down. So these are some very, very important benchmark numbers. These are some good math numbers that you need to run, especially as we're getting closer to the fourth quarter and we're all starting to emerge. Well, we're in the fourth quarter and we're all starting to emerge into the light of looking forward to 2025. Well, it's time to start writing your business strat plan. It's time to start running your numbers for the upcoming year. I'm already starting to help practice owners figure it out. What revenue do you want to make next year? And then we work backward from that number as to what does it take to hit that revenue number. My advice, last number for you existing practice owner, is that you experience a 20% GI growth per year. Now, to grow by 20% in gross revenue per year, to grow by 20% in net profit per year, what does that take in evals? What does that take in visits? What does that take in personnel and FTEs, full-time equivalents? What does it take to put that together? And when do I need to actually hire, and what's the right gradient to achieve that? Well, I can tell you right now, if you're not on pay for performance, if you're not doing RTM, if you're not outsourcing your administrative staff, this is going to be a very challenging year for 2025 for you to actually experience good growth and good profitability with that. You have to look at a new operating paradigm for 2025. What you keep doing is what you're going to keep getting. So it's time to make a change. Now, some of you are startups. Here's a startup number for you. I get this question all the time from my startups. When they get in and we do a practice, if you're thinking about starting up your practice, just go ahead and give us a call. Just email Jen, Jenn, at megbusiness.com. Set up a 1-hour session with me. It costs you nothing. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I'm just going to educate you on what we do and how we do what we do and why we're successful at what we do. And what I'm going to share with you is cash is king. I just recently had a startup owner come to me and say they had an inheritance and they had $150,000 and they're like, yeah, I could pay cash for the startup of my practice. I always hear you say on your podcast, it costs, between $35,000 and $150,000. Yeah, that's true, depending on build out. However, I don't want you to spend any of that money. I want you to bank all of that money. And that person that I was talking to was like, well, wait, what? You want me to go to the bank? You want me to pay 12, 13%? I said, yes, I want you to go to the bank and I want you to pay whatever percentage you need to as long as it's under 15%. Ideally closer to 8, 9, and 10. But I want you to know that the only important number in getting started is the monthly obligation. It's not the total amount you borrowed. It's what does it cost? The cost of money getting started. What does it cost you per month? Because I can equate that to X number of visits or X number of patients. And then you have to have the confidence to be like, yeah, my first 6 patients a month, start to finish, or my first 8 patients a month, start to finish, go to paying my loan or go to paying my rent. Do the math. How many visits does it take for you to break even? Startup, news alert, it's going to cost you $35,000 to $150,000 to get started, as I said earlier. And most likely, it's going to take 45 visits a week on average from all the clinics I see all around the country to break even, to pay your rent, pay your payroll, pay your note, your loan, pay your operating expenses. It's rare, very rare, that I see a practice that can't make the break-even number in 45 to 50 visits a week. So what does that mean? Every visit you do over that is profit, profit, profit. So getting your second therapist in within the first 3 to 6 months because your volume has gone up is outrageously advantageous to you. So the normal data that says it takes 12 to 18 months to break even is hogwash. That is not what my owners experience. I want you break even at 45 to 50 visits a week in the first 3 to 6 months, profit after that, and then grow from there. And it's all about scaling and expansion, scaling and expansion. There's a whole methodology to that. So there you go. There's some numbers. I wanted to give some startup numbers. I wanted to give some existing practice numbers. I want you to know that if you're not setting aside admin time, you can't think with these things. You don't know the right KPIs. And most importantly, you don't know how to get them. You need to not only know what they are, but you need to know how to achieve them. So look, if you want to learn more about how to be successful in private practice as a practice owner, because you were not taught that in PT school, reach out to us. Reach out to me at Meg Academy. I'd love to sit with you for an hour, or Laura. Either one of us will be glad to be your coach. You get free coaching with us for the lifetime that you're on our platform. 15 to 20 minutes, costs you nothing. You get all the handouts, all the materials. We give everything to you. So I don't want to sound like a solicitor. I'm not like, it's not important. But if you want to learn more about how you can actually do that and save money and be in control of your future income, then by all means, start your own practice. Whether it's a mobile PT practice, cash practice, hybrid practice, pay for performance practice, progressive PT practice model, we're here to help you. As always, I hope this advice was helpful. I hope this is food for thought, points you in the right direction. And I hope you start each and every morning expecting to do well. We're here for you.